When the college board results dropped, my twin sister and I tied for the highest score in the state. During the media blitz, my sister told a reporter, "The person I'm most grateful for is my younger sister. For 3 years, she's taken care of me day in and day out, helping me get through school." 3 years ago, right after our middle school graduation, our family went on a road trip and got into a terrible car accident. Our parents were killed instantly. My sister was paralyzed from the waist down. I walked away with minor injuries. The reporter asked, "Do you have a wish?" She looked right at me and said, "I wish my sister would give me her boyfriend." My stomach dropped. I looked at my sister, Chloe, with a complicated mix of emotions. In this lifetime, I wasn't going to hand my boyfriend over to my twin. I wish my sister would give me her boyfriend. Back on the day the scores were released, my second time living through this day, Chloe said the exact same thing she had in my past life. Her tone was flat, as if she were asking for a glass of water. Everyone in the room froze, their expressions shifting awkwardly between her and me. The cameraman, sensing a disaster, killed the feed immediately. My Uncle Rob tried to smooth things over. "The kid is just too excited about her grades. She's talking nonsense. She's joking." The reporter gave a dry, forced laugh, trying to move past the awkwardness. Suddenly, Chloe smiled. "I was definitely joking. Next question." The reporter let out a sigh of relief and continued the interview, but that unique telepathy twins share told me she wasn't kidding. In my last life, she also claimed she was joking. But once we got to college, she actually stole my boyfriend. I stared at her, feeling a sudden wave of nausea. In the previous timeline, the reporters focused almost entirely on Chloe and her wheelchair, mentioning me only in passing. The camera stayed glued to her legs. Now I knew why. They wanted to use my sister as inspiration porn, the tragic, paralyzed student who overcame adversity to succeed, regardless of whether she wanted that pity or attention. As her twin, I knew her better than anyone. She hated the pitying looks but couldn't stop them. After the accident, her moods became volatile, and her friends drifted away. It was worse because she had me, the healthy twin, as a constant point of comparison. For 3 years of high school, I was glued to her side, pushing her wheelchair. Whenever friends asked me to hang out, I told them my sister needed me. Eventually, my friends stopped calling too. Classmates whispered that Chloe was a burden on me. Inside, she was twisted and repressed, acting out to vent her frustration, screaming in the middle of class or frantically cutting her own hair with scissors. She would intercept the packages my boyfriend, Justin, sent me and steal the contents. And now, she had dropped this bomb in front of everyone. Reborn and wiser, I wasn't going to let her have him. Once the press team left, the atmosphere in the room shifted instantly. Uncle Rob's face darkened. "Chloe, what the hell kind of joke was that? If that video gets online, do you know what people will say about you? About our family?" Aunt Karen glanced at Chloe's legs, a flash of mock sympathy in her eyes. "Chloe, we know you can't always control yourself, but you can't go spouting nonsense like that." Chloe acted like she didn't hear them, toying with the uneven ends of her hair. Uncle Rob sighed and turned to me. "Emily, watch your sister. Don't let her sabotage herself again, especially at the graduation party." I nodded. "Okay, I will." After our parents died, Chloe and I had been living with Uncle Rob. Our grandparents were old-fashioned and sexist. They blamed us for our father's death and wanted nothing to do with us. Uncle Rob was blunt, but he hadn't kicked us out. Aunt Karen had one son, my cousin Mike, and had always been nice to us growing up, saying she wished she had 2 cute daughters. When our parents died, she was the first to offer to take us in. Mike was already working and treated us like little sisters. They were good people, or so we thought, assuming they weren't just trying to drain our parents' estate. But their plan had failed. Our parents left a will. Aside from a portion for our grandparents' care, everything was split evenly between Chloe and me. The graduation party was Uncle Rob's idea. The guest list was full of his bosses and business associates. Chloe and I didn't know a soul. Uncle Rob wandered the room with a wine glass in hand, parading Mike around, soaking up the congratulations meant for us. Meanwhile, Chloe and I sat alone at a table in the corner. It was the same in my last life. The party was just a networking event for Uncle Rob and Mike. Before the party, Uncle Rob had said, "You two are top of the state. If you invite your teachers and classmates, people will think you're showing off. It's bad form." We believed him. When the scores came out, someone had actually reported us for cheating because we had identical scores, so Uncle Rob decided who got invited. I watched my uncle, now visibly drunk, and felt a cold resolve. This time, I wouldn't stop Chloe from making a scene. Clang! Chloe smashed a bowl onto the floor. She wheeled herself over to the main table and grabbed the microphone. "Welcome, everyone, to my sister's and my graduation party. How much cash did you guys put in the red envelopes? Let me see." Chloe's lazy, arrogant voice boomed through the speakers. The banquet hall, noisy with chatter and clinking glasses a moment ago, went silent enough to hear a pin drop. Uncle Rob was drunk, but he reacted fast. He slurred. "Sage Chloe, what are you saying? Put the mic down." Chloe ignored him. "Everyone, you better ask for your money back. My uncle is a crook, he's serving you bootleg liquor." Faces dropped. People started side-eyeing the wine bottles on their tables. Uncle Rob turned beet red, swaying on his feet. Aunt Karen shot up, laughing nervously. "Don't listen to this girl. My husband would never do that. Look at her legs. The poor thing has been through too much trauma. She's unstable." She tapped her temple. "She's got a few loose screws. Doesn't know what she's saying." The guests looked at each other, unsure what to believe. Uncle Rob pointed a shaking finger at me. "Émilie Fou, didn't I tell you to control your sister?" He let out a loud, disgusting belch. Mike scoffed, looking repulsed. "Get her out of here. She's embarrassing us." I sneered internally. Mike's true colors were finally showing. I pretended not to hear him and kept eating. Chloe laughed, a manic, eerie sound that echoed through the hall. "I'm dying. Why aren't you guys drinking?" "I was just kidding. Drink up. Drink." The guests twitched awkwardly, looking at Chloe like she was a ticking bomb. In my last life, Uncle Rob used this party to sign a bunch of contracts and boost his social standing. This time, not only did he get nothing, but he also lost about 20 grand because he tried to look rich by booking the most expensive venue and telling people, "No gifts required," on the invites. Back at Uncle Rob's house, the interrogation began. "Chloe, have you lost your mind? You ruined my big break. And you, Emily, why didn't you watch her? You know she's mentally defective." Uncle Rob glared at us, no longer hiding his hatred. Aunt Karen and Mike looked at us with pure disgust. Unlike in the last life, where he tried to sweet-talk us out of our money, Uncle Rob went straight to threats. "You've graduated. Once you head to college, get the hell out of my house. I raised you for 3 years, you owe me 50% of your inheritance." He was demanding a fortune, conveniently forgetting that for the past 3 years, Chloe and I had paid for all our own expenses. Aside from the roof over our heads, we hadn't taken a dime from them. In fact, we'd given them 100 grand for room and board. In the past life, with our grandparents ignoring us and no other family left, we thought Uncle Rob's family were our saviors. We trusted them to manage our inheritance. When we eventually needed money for life-saving surgery, they didn't give us a cent. I rolled my eyes at the greedy trio. "We're leaving tomorrow. We already paid you. You're not getting another penny." Chloe chimed in. "You've got some nerve. I think you're the one with brain damage." She flicked a piece of chewed gum at him. It landed right in Uncle Rob's hair. "Chloe, you think I won't hit you?" He threw his cigarette down, fuming. Aunt Karen tried to pull the gum out, but it was stuck fast. She yanked hard, ripping out a patch of his hair. "Ouch, damn it, woman. Be gentle." Aunt Karen ignored his cursing and turned her gaze to Chloe. "Chloe, dear, didn't you say you wanted your sister's boyfriend?" She grabbed Chloe's hand. "I can help you with that." She looked like the big bad wolf in a grandmother's bonnet. Everyone knew she was up to no good. I watched Chloe nervously. This hadn't happened in the last timeline. I prayed she wouldn't agree. Aunt Karen obviously wanted our inheritance in exchange. Mike decided to pour gas on the fire. "Chloe, you and Emily look exactly the same. Why does her boyfriend like her and not you? It's just because you're crippled, right? A guy who discriminates against disabled people, You should steal him, and then make his life a living hell. Mike's tone was dark, his words disturbing. I realized he was the one who was truly sick in the head. At the word crippled, Chloe's eyes went dead. A gloomy aura seemed to swallow her. She snapped her head up to look at Mike. Even if he doesn't like me, I like him. I would never hurt him. She said it with absolute conviction, declaring her love for my boyfriend right in front of me. Mike smirked at me, victorious. He was showing his true self early. He was absolute trash. Chloe, don't listen to them. You don't even like Justin. They're just trying to turn us against each other, I said, trying to snap her out of her delusion. Justin Chin-gyang was the younger brother of the doctor who treated Chloe's legs. He was my boyfriend, 2 years older than us, a junior at Columbia University. 3 years ago, while I was caring for Chloe in the hospital, Justin often came to bring dinner to his brother. While Chloe was in a coma, I was terrified she would die like our parents. Justin was like a ray of sunshine, comforting me when I was falling apart. He sat with me every day, waiting for her to wake up. We promised to get into Columbia together. Justin had beamed at me. I'll wait for you at Columbia. You have to make it. Then Chloe's heart monitor beeped. The day Justin left was the day she finally woke up. Her voice was weak. Why are you alone? Where is he? I thought she meant our parents. Choking back tears, I said, Mom and Dad they're gone. But don't be scared, Chloe. I'm here. I'll always be with you. Chloe closed her eyes and didn't speak again. Throughout high school, Justin and I kept in touch over the phone. On my 18th birthday, he confessed his feelings and we started dating. He sent gifts, always including something for Chloe. Chloe brought him up again. When is he coming to see me? Why did he stop coming after I woke up? All he does is send packages. In my last life, I thought it was just trauma from the accident, that maybe she was confused and thought she was me. It wasn't until we got to Columbia and she stole him that I realized. She had actually fallen in love with him while she was in the coma. I swore I wouldn't let her target him this time. Chloe screamed at me, snapping me back to reality. Emily, why do you get to monopolize Justin? If you were the one lying in that bed unable to speak 3 years ago, I would have been the one to meet him. Why didn't that car hit your side? Why aren't you the one paralyzed? She started sobbing, tears streaming down her face as if releasing 3 years of resentment. I hated it too. Why hadn't I died in the crash? If I had died, I wouldn't have to suffer through 2 lifetimes of this pain. Chloe, I'm sorry. But I really can't give you Justin, I said, my voice trembling. During her coma, Justin and I took turns reading her favorite stories aloud. She fell in love with his voice. She fell in love with him without ever seeing his face. Chloe had a breakdown. Emily, how can you be so selfish? I'm already so pitiful. Can't you just let me have him? His voice woke me up. He saved me. If it weren't for me, would you have even met him at the hospital? Please, Emily, I'm begging you. Seeing her face, identical to mine, wet with tears, I felt like I was back in the hallway watching our parents get wheeled into the morgue. We were blood. We were twins. Watching her drown in this fantasy, I dug my fingernails into my palms until they bled. Uncle Rob and his family, satisfied that they'd driven a wedge between us, retreated to their rooms. In the last life, after Chloe took Justin from me, she marched straight toward her own destruction. I couldn't let history repeat itself. Justin wasn't a savior. His appearance at the hospital wasn't a coincidence, it was a calculated move. Chloe, Justin isn't an object I can just hand over. Who he likes, who he wants to be with, that's his decision. I tried to reason with her, but hope sparked in her eyes. Then break up with him. Let me chase him. He'll definitely date me, we look exactly the same. Under the harsh living room lights, Chloe sat in her wheelchair, looking at me with desperate hunger. For 3 years, the name Justin had filled the void in her dark, depressed world. My heart ached. I hesitated, then tested the waters. Chloe, let's wait until we get to Columbia. We need to talk to him face to face. She thought about it and slowly calmed down. Okay, I'm applying to Columbia too, to find Justin. The next day, ignoring our relatives' protests, we moved out of Uncle Rob's house. We sold the apartment our parents had left us in the city to ensure Uncle Rob couldn't track us down or claim squatters' rights. Even though things were tense between us because of Justin, we stood united against our vultures of relatives. A month later, our acceptance letters from Colombia arrived. So did a FaceTime call from Justin. Emily, congrats. You're coming to New York. Justin's handsome, smiling face filled the screen. I glanced discreetly at the closed door of the next room, then shut my own door. When I looked back at the phone, Justin had switched to an apologetic expression. Emily, I'm sorry. Are you still mad? I stared at the screen in silence. In the last life, Justin hadn't come to my graduation party either, claiming his internship wouldn't let him take time off. This time he said, you know how it is. Every summer I have to help my brother at the hospital. Med school is brutal. I played the understanding girlfriend. I know. It's okay. Ideally, stay away forever. His brother's hospital was in New York, not far from campus, and honestly, not that far from our hometown. He wasn't too busy to come, he was afraid. His brother didn't approve of us. He was from a wealthy family. I was an orphan with a paralyzed sister. I asked him, Justin, if one day Chloe and I stood in front of you, could you tell us apart? He froze for a second, looking down. Then he looked up, earnest. Emily, why would you ask that? Of course I'd know you. He offered proof. You have that tiny red mole on your palm. The red mole? That was actually a small scar from the car accident. It had faded years ago. But I didn't correct him. I smiled at the camera. You got it. Justin shifted the topic, probing gently. Is your sister's leg any better? He had always been weirdly interested in Chloe's legs. In my past life, I thought he was just being caring. The truth was much darker. A chill ran down my spine, but I kept my eyes bright and happy. So he had been planning it even back then. Now that I knew his plan to get close to both of us, I wouldn't let him win. Under his nervous gaze, I nodded excitedly. How did you guess? Chloe can actually stand up and take a few steps now. I think she'll be fully recovered soon. I acted thrilled, shaking the phone with my excitement. Justin's face twisted in an ugly expression for a split second before he masked it. He checked my reaction carefully, then forced a smile. That's great. I hope she recovers fully. I pretended to notice nothing. Thanks. Before hanging up, Justin said, when school starts, I'll meet you guys at the main gate. Okay. After the screen went black, my smile dropped, and a tear slid down my face. 3 years ago, I thought Justin was a godsend. He got me through the darkest 3 months of my life. But he had been targeting us from the start. Justin, you better recognize me. Don't mistake Chloe for me like you did last time. I wiped my face and opened my door. Chloe was standing there, her wheelchair sitting empty beside her. She leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. How did you know I could stand? I dodged the question. You were eavesdropping? You were loud, she shot back. I want out. I blocked her path. She looked impatient. Spit it out. When did you know? I sighed silently. Ever since the paralysis, Chloe had put up walls, bristling with thorns, not letting even me get close. I softened my voice. Since we were kids, you've always had to use the bathroom at night. For the first 2 years after the crash, you woke me up every night to help you. But for the last few months, you haven't called me once. Chloe looked embarrassed. I continued. I'm used to waking up at that time now. One night, I saw you holding onto the wall, walking to the bathroom. Since then, I've heard you in the spare room doing rehab exercises every night. Chloe trembled, her thin frame shaking. So, do you blame me for waking you up all those years? Do you blame me for sneaking around doing rehab? Do you think I'm a burden who turned you into a servant? Do you hate me for keeping you from your boyfriend? Do you think I'm manipulative for staying in the wheelchair to get sympathy? She broke down sobbing, sliding down the doorframe to the floor. I crouched down and hugged her. Chloe, I don't blame you for a second. Taking care of you, I did it willingly. When we were little, even though she was only minutes older, she always acted the big sister. Those happy days felt like a lifetime ago. Chloe wailed like a baby. I knew she was in pain, hating herself, feeling like dead weight. Her grief was contagious. My own tears spilled over. Why did the universe have to torture us like this? I stroked her hair, mimicking the tone our mother used to use. Cry it out, Chloe. Let it all out. After a long time, she pulled away. My shirt was soaked. I thought finally she understands. But then she said, Emily, help me one last time. Give me Justin. Consider it payback for this life. I'll give you anything else you want. Her eyes were red and swollen, begging me. I closed my eyes in pain. Chloe, you said the exact same thing in the last life. I let go back then. I stepped aside and let them be together. And Justin turned her into a vegetable. I couldn't let her near him knowing what I knew. You haven't even met him, I said wearily. How can you be sure you like him? I love his voice, she blurted out. Then, realizing how shallow that sounded, she added, for those 3 months in the dark, unable to open my eyes, his voice was my only lifeline. It was full of sunshine. Her expression shifted, becoming serious and calm, her old self. Emily, we're twins. I know you fell for his voice first, too. So it's not weird that I did. Our minds are connected. It's easy for us to fall for the same person. My heart stung. She was wrong. I hadn't fallen for his voice first. I had already detached my heart from Justin, while she was sinking deeper. Justin was a curse on both of us. I decided to rip the bandage off. Chloe, Justin isn't a good person. He came to that hospital room with an agenda. She glared at me. I don't believe you. You don't want to give him up, fine, but you don't have to lie. Do you read too many novels? He sat by your side for 3 months. What bad intentions could he have? Does he know you talk about him like this? Frustrated, I shouted. I'm from the future. In my past life, Justin only dated me to get to you. Enough, Chloe screamed, looking at me with disappointment. Emily, people say I'm the crazy one, but you're sounding insane. Reborn? If you're from the future, why didn't you stop us from going on that road trip? Then Mom and Dad wouldn't be dead. I wouldn't be paralyzed, and I wouldn't be trying to steal your boyfriend. I asked myself that every day. Why couldn't I have woken up 3 years ago? She wouldn't believe me. I compromised. Fine. Let's play a game. Chloe looked suspicious. I know you can walk, I said. When we go to orientation, you sit in the wheelchair, and I'll walk. Let's see if he can tell us apart. And if he can't? Chloe asked, her eyes lighting up. Then you can be me. You can be with him. She looked thoughtful, excited. I forced a bitter smile. But if he recognizes me, I added, I'm breaking up with him regardless. Chloe was lost in the joy of finally meeting Justin. In this life, Justin was waiting at the Columbia gates just like before. Emily, let me take you guys to registration. He walked straight up to Chloe, who was standing, and took her hand. He glanced subtly at her palm. When he saw a red mole there, he relaxed. I caught the tiny sigh of relief. The gate was crowded with students. In the morning sun, Justin and Chloe looked like the perfect college couple. Neither of us actually had a mole. Chloe had painted one on her hand. Walking to the dorms, Justin was all over Chloe, barely sparing me a glance. I was in the wheelchair now, pushing myself behind them. Emily, Justin said to her. It's been 3 years. I almost didn't recognize your voice. Do you like it? Chloe asked. I could hear the thrill in her voice. Justin chuckled, a low magnetic sound. It was his signature move. I'd heard it a million times. Chloe giggled shyly. Even though we looked identical, our voices were slightly different. Justin hadn't noticed. Chloe was happy, but I was relieved. If he thought she was me, maybe he wouldn't target her for his sick experiments. Justin's gaze kept drifting to my legs, or rather, the legs in the wheelchair. I felt nauseous, remembering the horrors of my past life. In that timeline, after Chloe and Justin got together, she fell under his spell completely. He made her stay in the wheelchair, forbade her from doing rehab, and told her he preferred her paralyzed. She listened to him. Then came the experiments. He wanted to use her legs for unauthorized surgical research. He electrocuted her, burned her. When she finally realized he was a monster, he threatened her. Tell anyone, and you'll never see your sister again. They lived off campus. He pushed her to class, acting the devoted boyfriend. Chloe texted me saying to stay away. I thought they were just in love. By the time I realized something was wrong, her legs were necrotic. Ruined. His experiments were useless. I found her lying in bed, soaked in sweat, eyes full of agony. Emily, I was wrong. He's a demon. Before she could finish, Justin came home. He laughed, a terrifying, psychotic sound. Why stop talking? Since you know you can both die together. He pulled out a can of gasoline. I tried to pick Chloe up to run. Justin blocked the door. Emily, truthfully, I've always liked you more. But you don't have any research value. I held Chloe tight. Before he could light the gas, the police burst in and tackled him. But the damage was done. Chloe ended up in a persistent vegetative state. I passed out from the stress, and when I opened my eyes, I was back on the day the scores came out. This time, I applied for a double dorm room with Chloe. Freshman orientation involved a mandatory wilderness camp for a month. Chloe was exempt due to her paralysis. I, Emily, conveniently sprained my ankle the day before, and was also excused. The whole department envied the twins who got to skip the grueling camping trip. Chloe was using crutches now, moving slower than my wheelchair. Justin offered to carry Chloe back to the dorms. I wheeled after them, refusing to leave them alone. Around others, we were ourselves. But around Justin we swapped. Chloe, pretending to be me, was happy and stopped acting out. But I knew this couldn't last. I needed to expose Justin before he hurt her, but I didn't know the specifics of his research. I had to use myself as bait. Back in the dorm, Justin suddenly turned to look at me, the girl in the wheelchair. You're Emily's sister, right? The legs still aren't better. I put on a smile that didn't belong to my sister. Thanks for asking. I'm starting to get some sensation back. A dark glint flickered in Justin's eyes. Gotcha, I thought. He's impatient. But I was wrong. Justin spent every day with Chloe thinking she was me, walking around campus, going to the library. The orientation month was almost over, and he hadn't made a move on me. In the last life, he had approached Chloe during this exact time. I was getting nervous. I asked Chloe privately, Justin hasn't figured it out, right? Chloe looked troubled, the honeymoon phase clearly over. She clicked her tongue impatiently. You told me everything about you too. He has no clue. Why? Do you want him to find out so he goes back to you? I bit my lip. Her attitude hurt, but I had to know. Why do you look unhappy? Is he treating you bad? I needed to break her obsession. Her love for him was a fixation born of loneliness and a voice in the dark. When Chloe finally said, Justin is kinda weird, your taste in men sucks, I knew I had one. She complained. His voice is nice, sure, but being with him, I don't feel like he actually likes me. I pretended to be offended. My taste sucks. You're the one who stole him. Chloe looked embarrassed. This is all your fault. If you hadn't brought him to my hospital room, I never would have fallen for the voice. She threw her crutches down and paced around the room. Her legs were strong now, a huge improvement from the rotting limbs of the last life. After pacing, she stopped. I'm breaking up with him. You were right. He's not a good guy. She looked at me defiantly. And if you don't agree, I'll tell him the truth. Break up? As Chloe or Emily? My gut told me there was more to this. What did you find? Chloe's face paled. She scanned me up and down, suddenly wary. How did you know? She waved her hand. No, don't ask. It's bad. We just need to stay away from him. I'm ending it now. She turned to leave. Wait, I stopped her. Chloe, I agree you should dump him, but Justin isn't the type to just let go. I need to know his secret so we can protect ourselves. Silence. Then she whispered. I saw a scar on Justin. It looks exactly like the description of the suspect from that horrific hazing assault case a few years back. My jaw dropped. Are you sure? It was on the waist. How did you see it? Chloe coughed, blushing. I accidentally lifted his shirt while he was napping. Whoa. Not like that. She waved her hands frantically. I was just testing if I actually felt anything for him physically. Years ago, a brutal hazing incident at a prep school had made headlines. The perpetrators beat a kid nearly to death. One suspect escaped, unidentified, except for a detail. He had fallen on a rock and gouged his waist. A scar doesn't prove it's him, I said. Lots of people have scars. True. But I also found photos on his phone. Photos of the victim. Chloe pulled out her phone and showed me pictures she'd snapped of Justin's screen. I recognized the victim immediately. The photos were gruesome. That psycho, I hissed. That was his secret. He was a born sadist. We can't wait. I slammed my hand on the desk. We're going to the cops. Now. We stood up, but the dorm door was kicked open with a bang. Justin stood there, the same dark, predatory look in his eyes as in my past life. Justin, this is a girls' dorm. How did you get in? I grabbed a crutch. Chloe grabbed the other. He smirked, relaxed and arrogant. Emily, why did you lie to me? I love you. How could you try to pawn me off on your sister? He clutched his chest in mock pain. 3 years of love, and you treat me like this? Cut the act, Justin, I snapped. You don't have a heart. Breaking and entering gets you expelled. He dropped the act. I didn't break in, someone let me in. You know, I figured it out a few days ago. That phone call about the mole? It was a trap. Clever. I pulled Chloe behind me. Outside, thunder rumbled, and heavy rain began to fall. The campers were returning from orientation. I could hear noise in the hall. Justin, you don't like me. Let's just break up. Break up? He laughed coldly, eyeing my legs. You two played me for a month. You owe me. We don't owe you anything, I said, gripping the crutch. You owe me a pair of legs, he whispered. What the hell are you talking about? He laughed like a maniac. You didn't know? 3 years ago, I only approached you because of your sister's paralysis. Orphans are so easy to manipulate. I needed a subject with paralyzed legs for my research. I've waited 3 years. And now you tell me her legs are healed. He pulled a coil of rope from his jacket. Paralyzed, senseless legs are perfect for surgery. Since you ruined my subject, one of you has to replace her. Chloe stepped out from behind me, shocked. What? Justin smiled, putting his nice guy mask back on. I only need 2 legs. Who's volunteering? He snapped the rope tight. I glanced at Chloe. She gave a microscopic nod. The police were already on their way. Chloe had texted them before showing me the photos. We just had to stall. Chloe, you go, I said loudly. I just got into Columbia. My life is just starting. Chloe shoved me. I just got in too. You go. You're the one who brought him here. I rolled my eyes. No way. You dated him for a month. Technically, you're the ex-girlfriend now. She pushed me again. You go. I've already done the paralyzed thing. It's your turn to try it out. I slapped her arm. You go. You have the experience. Justin watched us fight, a mocking sneer on his lips. I thought you twins were close. Turns out when things get real, it's every girl for herself. He didn't hear the sirens. When the police burst in and pinned him to the ground, he looked genuinely confused. What is this? Who called the cops? He screamed, struggling. Why are you arresting me? Calm down, an officer said. We just have some questions about a past assault case. And breaking and entering. Justin's eyes widened in panic. He thought the hazing case was buried. Desperate, he looked at me. Emily, help me. Tell them we were just role-playing. It's a game. The officer looked at him like he was garbage. A grown man in a freshman girl's dorm with a rope? Nobody bought it. They dragged him away. He must have regretted it deeply. He thought he could manipulate 2 vulnerable orphans, conduct his twisted experiments, and own us both. Instead, he lost everything before he even started. At the station, realizing there was no way out, Justin confessed to everything, including the hazing assault his family had covered up. The parallels to the last life were striking. While Justin awaited sentencing, Chloe and I thrived at Columbia. We were recruited early into a top computer science research institute, taking the spots that might have gone to him if he hadn't been a psychopath. 1 year later, the lethal injection was administered. The evil was finally gone. During our 4 years of college, Chloe and I only went back to Oak Creek on tomb sweeping day to visit our parents. Although Chloe never said it out loud, I knew she believed I had been reborn. I told her we were cutting off Uncle Rob and his family. She agreed without a word. I told her never to blindly trust a man. She took it to heart and stayed single her whole life. I told her she didn't always have to protect me. She smiled and said, "Helping you is helping myself."